Something new is coming soon.
I just love surprises. What is it?
Well, you'll just have to stay tuned and find out, just like everyone else.
Oh, fine, then I guess I'll continue watching.
Wow, I don't believe it, he's back.
Who's that you're talking about? Who is back?
Uriel Morningstar is back. He is back with his band Raja. Translated to English, it means the Prince of Synths, as in synthesizer keyboards. He is a one-man band of a symphonic metal band with over 171 instruments, which has 3 layers of his voice sung in different styles. A metal band, a full philharmonic orchestra and an 81-person symphonic choir. He does all the recording, editing and everything on his own. He is very talented and also plays by ear and never ever took music lessons or piano lessons. Although he did go to recording art school in Edmonton and Vancouver back in the late 1980s and early 1990s. He has a sound engineering certificate from Columbia Academy of Radio, Television and Recording Arts. In 2014, he created a band logo, as you see here, and then a trademark with the Canadian government.
That's all very interesting. So where has he been for the last so many years? I have never heard of him. I've never ever seen or heard any of his work. Why is that, if he is such a good musician, as you say?
After getting his trademark in 2014, Uriel fell into financial ruin and hardship for 10 years of a full decade. Also during that time, his computer and music equipment suddenly died. It was all very old and severely outdated. He had to restart everything in his home studio, all over again from scratch, slowly building his dream one step at a time. What made it even tougher to buy and purchase new items was the shipping and prices near the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. It really slowed things down almost to a complete stop. The good news though is that Uriel is very strong mentally. He did not let that stop him. Here today he is finally back after all his hard work getting there. He's starting his band Raja once more.
I'm very proud of him for that, and not giving up during a difficult time for everyone on Earth. I can't wait to see what he does. So go on. What else can you tell me about what to expect soon?
Recently, Marfan Morningstar, Uriel's wife, got an increase on her line of credit from a previous loan company. She insisted that they use it on Uriel's dream because she knows how hard things have been for him and how badly he has wanted his dream all his life. She has always been fully supportive of him and his music. She sees his dream and knows he could do it, but money is always the thing that stops him. She didn't even hesitate in telling him that she is going to help him get there, with this increase of money she just received.
It is beautiful to see a couple like that. Most women I know wouldn't do that. They would just tell him to cut his long hair and to get a real job. But here I can see that she truly loves him, supports him, and cares not only for her own happiness in life, but also his. I wish I could see more couples like this in the world today. So what did they buy with this loan increase?
The first thing they bought was an electronic music desk. This desk has room for all his studio equipment, as well it can be heightened or lowered in 28 increments, to go from either a sitting position or a standing position. Uriel Morningstar is a tall guy well over 6 feet tall, so a height-adjustable desk will give him more comfort for his knees and legs, as well as accommodate his arm height, being that he is tall and his arms are long. Also, his computer monitor can be up at eye height, instead of him getting a sore neck looking slightly down at it.
I love it. It looks so rustic. It looks pretty big in size. So what all is he going to put on this desk?
On the top left and the top right corners of the top back shelf, he will put his Edifier MR5 near-field speaker monitors.
Boom, chew, boom, boom, chew, boom, chew, boom, boom, chew goes the beat. Let's get this party started.
At first glance, these near-field monitoring speakers might look small, but their sound is massive for their size and price range. You can't see it looking at them, but inside is a 5-inch long-throw subwoofer with a large magnet. It has tuned bass tubes coming out of it on both the left and right sides at the bottom, as well as another tuned bass tube coming out the top at the back. It can play bass sounds down to 46 Hz. Not only that, but the sound is crystal clear even at those low frequencies. It has a 3.75-inch mid-range delivering crisp, clear vocals. It seriously sounds like the musicians are in the room with you. It has a 1-inch dome tweeter for the high end of the audio. It can very clearly play high frequencies, twice that of human hearing at 40,000 Hz. They are digitally tuned and modified internally with a 24-bit bitrate with a 96 kHz sampling rate. They play back music with the utmost accuracy for a system in this price range.
That is incredible for a speaker of that size. I love the copperish brass look as well. What else can it do?
Uriel has the speakers hooked up with XLR professional cables for the highest quality sound coming from his computer's professional sound card system. Because a speaker only sounds as good as the room acoustics it is in, on the back it has both a high shelving EQ knob and a low shelving EQ knob to make adjustments. The Edifier MR5 uses a sophisticated tri-amp Class D amplifier system, delivering a total output power of 110 watts RMS. The bass woofer 5-inch driver uses 30 watts times 2 RMS. The mid-range 3.75-inch driver uses 15 watts times 2 RMS. The treble tweeter 1-inch silk dome driver uses 10 watts times 2 RMS. They are capable of a loudness of 101 decibels. Since the volume for mastering music is only 85 decibels, this leaves 16 decibels of headroom, so less amplifier hiss and less distortion or coloring of the sound. All you get is the exact same true-to-life sound you recorded. But this little unit has another secret.
Oh, you can tell little old me. I won't tell anyone that I'm already impressed with these.
The MR5 Studio near-field monitors hook up to your cell phone using Bluetooth technology. It lets you have total control over its computerized motherboard and microchip inside of them. In fact, more control than most people would expect.
Oh wow, awesome, I didn't see that coming. That is incredible.
So as I already said, it has high shelving EQ as well as low shelving EQ on the back. Once you are into the Edifier Connects application, the magic really starts. There is an online user manual, there is left and right audio channel setups, digital sampling rate options of up to 24-bit and 96 kHz. You can set them up for either studio professional monitors, music or customize. Customize is best because now you can tell your monitor speakers to be truly flat in whatever room you put them in. You now have a 9-band equalizer to go along with those previous high and low shelving EQ on the back. You can choose what frequency you want to use as your bass cutoff, as well as selecting the cutoff rate from 6 decibel per octave, all the way up to 24 decibel per octave. If your speakers are close to walls, you can adjust your acoustic space with a setting to accommodate for that. If the speakers are on your computer's desktop, there is even a setting for that. And finally, you can control the volume of this near-field monitor speaker from your cell phone. All of this is inside the little boxes that sit on the corners of Uriel's desk in his home studio. It will give him a very professional sound.
Wow, I can't believe it. To look at them, you would think they were just bookshelf speakers. Who would think that they are professional studio near-field monitors? For their price range, that is almost unbelievable. Is this some kind of foam? And what is that used for? And why does Uriel need that?
Because the MR5 studio monitors have very good bass for their size, these special acoustic pads are needed. Sound-addicted studio monitor isolation pads, SM Pad 5, are high-density acoustic foam tools designed to decouple the studio speakers from surfaces, reducing unwanted vibrations and allowing flexible angle tilting of 4 degrees upwards towards the listener's ears. These high-density acoustic foam pads typically reduce desk surface vibrations by roughly 12 decibels across problem bass frequencies, usually between 60 Hz and 200 Hz. Having these means that you will only hear the sound from the studio monitoring speakers and no coloration or distortion coming from the furniture it is placed upon. Also, the bass won't be able to make it to the floor where it will bother the neighbors in the apartment below him.
Nobody wants an angry neighbor. That could lead to an expensive eviction on a very short notice. He needs to be able to make his music, yes, totally, but at the same time respect those around him.
This will also help him make much clearer recordings and mixes that should sound good just about anywhere.
So what else did they get for his home studio? I really love the blue tiles. They are very pretty. Do you wanna play checkers? Don't worry, I'm just kidding.
Acoustic treatment, transforming Uriel Morningstar's home recording studio. Every professional recording studio has one thing in common. It isn't just filled with expensive equipment. It's built around proper acoustics. For Uriel Morningstar, whose passion is creating massive symphonic metal productions, featuring over 171 individual instruments, installing a 4-foot-tall by 6-foot-wide acoustic treatment wall behind his studio desk is one of the most important upgrades he can make. Centered perfectly behind his workstation and leaving approximately 6 inches of wall visible on each side of the desk, this installation creates a stunning professional backdrop while dramatically improving the acoustics of the room where every recording and mix is created. This isn't just foam on a wall, it's an investment in better music, creating a controlled listening environment. When sound leaves a pair of studio monitors, it doesn't travel only to the listener's ears. It also reflects off nearby walls, creating unwanted echoes and frequency buildup that interfere with what you're actually hearing. These reflections can cause harsh high frequencies, blurred stereo imaging, frequency buildup, comb filtering, unwanted room coloration, and mixes that sound different on other speakers. By installing acoustic foam directly behind the workstation desk, much of that reflected sound is absorbed before it can bounce back into the listening position. Instead of hearing the room, Uriel hears his music. The result is a cleaner, tighter, and far more accurate listening environment. Better mixes begin with better acoustics. Uriel isn't mixing a simple rock band. His compositions often include lead vocals, backing vocals, heavy guitars, bass guitar, live drums, full orchestras, large symphonic choirs, strings, brass, woodwinds, percussion, synthesizers, and cinematic sound design. With well over 171 individual tracks competing for space, every mixing decision matters. Without acoustic treatment, reflections inside the room can make violins seem louder than they really are, choirs become muddy, brass sound harsh, cymbals overly bright, and reverbs difficult to judge. By reducing those reflections, Uriel can clearly hear every instrument exactly as it exists in the mix. That means better EQ decisions, better balance, better dynamics, and better sounding music everywhere his songs are played. Sharper stereo imaging. Symphonic metal relies heavily on realistic instrument placement. First violins, second violins, cellos, French horns, choirs, double-tracked rhythm guitars, lead guitar, percussion. Each instrument has its own place within the stereo image. Reflections from untreated walls blur those positions together. The new acoustic treatment helps preserve precise stereo imaging, allowing every section of the orchestra to occupy its own space. The result is greater depth, clarity, and realism throughout every composition. Cleaner vocal recordings. Whenever Uriel records vocals near his workstation, sound doesn't simply travel into the microphone. It also reflects off the wall behind him. Milliseconds later, those reflections return to the microphone, creating subtle room coloration that can make recordings sound boxy or less focused. The acoustic treatment behind the workstation helps absorb those reflections before they reach the microphone. The result is cleaner, drier vocals that require less corrective processing during mixing, letting professional equipment perform at its best. Uriel's home studio already contains professional-grade equipment, including solid-state Logic SSL12 audio interface, Cubase Pro 15, Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro Limited Edition 250 ohm headphones, Edifier MR5 studio monitors, Sound ID reference room, and headphone calibration. Every one of these tools is designed to reproduce audio with exceptional detail and accuracy. But even the best studio monitors cannot overcome poor room acoustics. Adding proper acoustic treatment allows the entire studio to perform much closer to its true potential. Instead of fighting the room, every piece of equipment now works together to reveal the music with greater precision. Less ear fatigue during long sessions. Producing orchestral metal isn't something that happens in an hour. Creating MIDI performances, arranging full orchestras, recording vocals, editing instruments, programming drums, mixing, and mastering often require many hours at the workstation. Untreated rooms constantly reflect harsh frequencies back toward the listener, causing ear fatigue that makes good mixing decisions increasingly difficult. Acoustic treatment softens those reflections, creating a more comfortable environment where Uriel can work longer while maintaining confidence in what he's hearing. A studio that looks as professional as it sounds. Beyond its acoustic advantages, the alternating blue and black checkerboard pattern gives Uriel's studio an unmistakably professional appearance. The 4-foot-high by 6-foot-wide acoustic wall, extending to within approximately 6 inches of each side of the desk, becomes the visual centerpiece of the room. Whether filming YouTube videos, recording music tutorials, live streaming, or simply sharing studio updates, viewers will immediately recognize that this is a purpose-built recording studio designed for serious music production. It doesn't just improve the sound, it elevates the entire presentation of the studio. Another step toward a professional studio. Every upgrade Uriel Morningstar has made has been carefully chosen to move his home recording studio closer to professional standards. His SSL12 interface delivers pristine audio quality. Cubase Pro 15 provides the power to manage enormous projects with ease. His Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro headphones, Edifier MR5 studio monitors, and Sound ID reference calibration system ensure he can hear every detail with remarkable accuracy. Adding a 4-foot by 6-foot acoustic treatment wall ties all of those investments together. It creates a controlled acoustic environment where every piece of equipment can perform at its full potential, reducing unwanted reflections, improving stereo imaging, producing cleaner vocal recordings, minimizing ear fatigue, and allowing Uriel to make more confident mixing decisions. For a composer crafting symphonic metal on the scale of a film score, with more than 171 instruments blending orchestral grandeur and crushing metal intensity, this isn't simply an aesthetic upgrade. It's the finishing touch that transforms a room full of professional equipment into a true recording studio. Every soaring choir, every thunderous drum hit, every sweeping orchestral passage, and every crushing guitar riff can now be heard with greater clarity and precision, bringing Uriel Morningstar one step closer to creating the powerful, cinematic sound he has always envisioned.
Those who have known Uriel and his wife Rhiannon for a long time should be proud right now. Their friend Uriel has not only fought for this but has finally gotten there. It wasn't easy, but he never gave up, and after 57 years of trying, he's made it become reality.
In between the monitor speakers, on the top back shelf of the desk, Uriel will have a special computer visual monitor. Not just an everyday one, but a computer monitor that is better than that.
It doesn't look any different to me, so what is so special about this one?
This is a 27-inch Asus ProArt visual monitor. These are made specifically for people who do video editing and media creators, or for people who do AutoCAD, or people who make car blueprints for building cars, or construction 3D models for skyscraper blueprints that are highly advanced. It's higher technology than just your average computer monitor.
That sounds expensive. Is it worth it?
First of all, it is 4K high definition and 27 inches, which is a good size, especially if you are sitting right in front of it. This monitor is 99% DCI-P3. DCI-P3 is a standardized color space created by the movie industry for digital cinema. It contains about 26% more visible colors than standard home displays that use only RGB, providing much richer reds, blues, greens, and deeper overall vibrancy. The 99% coverage means the screen can accurately reproduce virtually all of these syndicated colors without even trying or breaking a sweat. This 27-inch monitor is Karman verified. The industry recognizes verification, proving that the display has been tested and calibrated in the factory to guarantee highly accurate colors right out of the box, true to cinema colors. As much as this monitor can do HDR 400, it is better to turn it off.
Turn HDR off? Why would you do that? So many devices these days use HDR, don't they? Things like televisions, cell phones, tablets, and even more. Or am I wrong?
That is true for consumer products, but this is a professional computer monitor. Turn off the HDR, but turn the brightness of the monitor up to full, all the way to 100%. Consumer monitors use red, green, and blue to make pictures on the screen. This professional monitor uses an international United Nations recommendation coding. It's called Rec 709. This is treated as a strict law by the global television, film, and tech industries to ensure every screen in the world displays color and brightness in the exact same way. This produces deeper shadows and higher contrast, which looks better. Also, this monitor is 32-bit color with a color depth of 10 bits per channel. Where a cheap consumer monitor would use red, green, and blue to make color, this professional monitor uses YCbCr444 technology.
YCbCr444 technology? What is that? I'm not a technical person. Can you put that in easier to understand language for me?
The Y stands for luma. It's a layer of the imaging grayscale that controls the darkness and brightness of the image. The CNB stands for chrominance blue. It represents how the color deviates from grayscale towards blue or yellow. The CR stands for chrominance red. It represents how the color deviates from grayscale towards red or green. In a 444 format means no color data is ever removed. It means every pixel gets full brightness and full color information simultaneously on each and every pixel on the screen in real time. It makes the image true to real life. Whatever you recorded, it is exactly what you will see.
So what you are saying is that Uriel can make his videos just as clear as the ones in the movie theaters?
Yes, you are correct, exactly.
What is Cyberlink Power Director 2026? Is this video editing software on the left side?
Cyberlink Power Director 2026 is a heavy-duty video editing suite tailored for Windows 11 that hits that sweet spot between overly simplified editors and intimidating high-end studio software like Adobe Premiere Pro. For independent artists and musicians like Uriel Morningstar, it's become a go-to platform because it balances automated AI workflow features with deep manual control over visual pacing, timelines, and color grading.
How does it work on Windows 11?
Power Director is built to take full advantage of the modern Windows 11 architecture, leveraging your PC's CPU and GPU to keep playback fluid and rendering times short, even when handling heavy footage. The timeline workflow, it relies on an intuitive multi-track timeline optimized for Windows 11 performance. Uriel can drag and drop raw video clips, separate audio stems and graphics into the media library, and arrange them effortlessly across tracks. Hardware acceleration. Running on Windows 11, the software taps into advanced local AI processing and hardware acceleration to handle heavy computational lifts, like isolating audio tracks or matching frames, without lagging or crashing. Format flexibility. It supports high-resolution recording formats straight out of modern mirrorless cameras, smartphones, or action cams, making it easy to process multi-angle studio sessions without messy conversion steps.
How would Uriel Morningstar use it for making music videos?
When you are an independent musician editing your own performance footage, gear demos, and studio sessions on Windows 11, you need tools that keep the focus on the music. Here is how Uriel would put PowerDirector 2026 to work. 1. Multicam synchronization for dynamic performance shots. If Uriel shoots a live performance using multiple angles, like a wide shot of the home studio, a close-up on his hands playing an instrument, and a tighter artistic face angle, PowerDirector's multi-camera designer makes stitching them together painless. The workflow, instead of manually hunting for sync points, Uriel can auto-sync the angles using the recorded audio waveforms, letting him switch between camera views dynamically on the timeline as the song plays. 2. Precise audio-visual alignment. For any music video, even a millisecond of delay between the visual performance and the audio track will look jarring to viewers. The workflow, Uriel can mute the camera's raw microphone audio and drop his master mixed and mastered song track straight out of his digital audio workstation right onto the timeline. Using the frame-accurate audio waveforms, he can line up transient hits, like a heavy drum beat or a sharp guitar strum, with absolute precision. 3. AI audio denoise and speech enhancement. If Uriel is doing a gear walkthrough, talking to the camera about a new synth, or introducing a track, background disturbances like computer fan hums, AC units, or preamp noise can ruin the immersive vibe. The workflow, running PowerDirector's AI audio denoise, instantly strips away room noise, while keeping spoken vocals crisp and forward, ensuring professional audio clarity, even if the recording environment isn't a multi-million-dollar tracking room. 4. B-roll and studio walkthroughs. Showcasing custom gear, pedals, or studio aesthetics requires smooth, engaging visuals that keep viewers hooked. The workflow, Uriel can utilize AI motion tracking to anchor custom text graphics or specs, like pedal settings or synth model names, directly to pieces of hardware as the camera pans. He can also use AI object removal to digitally clear out messy cable clutter or stray mic stands from the background. 5. Custom color grading and consistent branding, establishing a signature visual identity. Whether that's a moody, neon-lit cyberpunk studio aesthetic or a warm, vintage analog look, is key for an artist's channel. The workflow, PowerDirector includes built-in LUTs, lookup tables, and robust color wheels. Uriel can dial in a custom grade, save it as a preset, and apply a uniform look across all his performance clips and music video projects to keep his channel branding cohesive.
What's that on the right side of the screen? Is that Cyberlink PhotoDirector 2026?
Cyberlink PhotoDirector 2026 is a comprehensive photo editing suite designed for Windows 11 that blends the structured asset management tools of Adobe Lightroom with the deep, layer-based manipulation of Photoshop. For an independent musician like Uriel Morningstar, it serves as an all-in-one graphic design and photo suite to handle promotional imagery, album art, and social media content, leveraging heavy AI automation alongside granular manual controls.
How does it work on Windows 11?
PhotoDirector is optimized to run smoothly on modern 64-bit Windows 11 systems, utilizing hardware acceleration to process high-resolution RAW files and run complex machine learning tools locally. The dual workflow, it offers both an organizer adjustment workspace, similar to Lightroom for quick batch corrections, and an advanced layer editing mode with masks and blending modes for complex compositing. Conversational editing. It features an edit by chat interface, letting Uriel type conversational prompts to execute or brainstorm edits, alongside an AI model lab supporting cutting-edge generative image models. Performance. The software makes full use of Windows 11 hardware architectures to render heavy AI background swaps, face retouching, and graphic exports without freezing up the system.
How would Uriel Morningstar use this for his music promotions and visual artistry?
When an artist needs to build a cohesive visual identity for an upcoming album, single release, or social media campaign, promotional imagery is just as important as the audio. Here is how Uriel would put PhotoDirector 2026 to work. 1. Album and single art creation, designing striking cover art that catches a listener's eye on streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube is vital. The workflow, Uriel can use layer editing, masks, and text kerning to stack photos of himself, blend textures, and add stylized typography for track titles. He can also use generative AI features to seamlessly expand image backgrounds or generate unique stylistic elements that fit the vibe of his music. 2. Studio promo and press photos. Promotional photos taken in a home studio often feature distracting elements like loose cables, mic stands, or messy backdrops. The workflow, Uriel can utilize wire detection and removal and AI object removal to instantly erase stray cables or clutter. If he wants a completely different environment, AI background removal isolates him from his room so he can drop in a custom graphic or a moody color gradient. 3. Quick batch processing for social media. Dropping teasers across Instagram, TikTok, and X, Twitter, requires resizing and tone matching dozens of photos from a single studio session. The workflow: instead of editing shots one by one, Uriel can apply a signature color grade, crop preset, or watermark across an entire folder simultaneously using batch editing, saving hours of repetitive work. 4. AI face retouching and headshots. Artists frequently need polished press shots or profile pictures for press releases and streaming profiles. The workflow: Uriel can leverage one-click face retouch and AI headshot tools to clean up blemishes, balance skin tones, and adjust lighting naturally without making the photo look artificial or overprocessed. 5. Turning stills into motion content. Teasing new music on social media often performs better with subtle motion rather than a static image. The workflow: Uriel can use the AI image-to-video feature to inject fluid motion, dynamic lighting, or atmospheric depth into static album art or studio shots, instantly transforming a static photo into an eye-catching looping video teaser for a single release.
Wow, a 4K monitor with a cinematically true picture, and all this picture and editing software. I think Uriel's future is about to change for the better.
We are just getting started. There is much more.
I'm now wondering, how will Uriel make his music videos? Does he need a special camera for that? How does he get it from his performance to his editing software?
Uriel will be able to unlock studio-quality music videos. This will be his setup. They purchased a lighting pole that has a cell phone mount. It will give Uriel flawless lighting and stability. First off, setting up the Pixel 10 cell phone right inside the ring light stand gives Uriel crucial lighting consistency. He will have shadow-free subjects. The ring light provides soft, even, front-facing illumination across Uriel's face and body. This prevents harsh shadows from spilling onto the green screen behind him. He will have hands-free framing. The central clamp holds the Pixel 10 cell phone rock steady, ensuring no camera shake while he is performing.
He can make professional videos from a cell phone. Wouldn't he need a studio production camera, one of those really big ones?
No, he doesn't need that. The Pixel 10 cell phone can be set to record in H.264 mode, which is highly sufficient and allows smooth editing. Shooting on the Pixel 10 in H.264 format hits the absolute sweet spot between crisp visual clarity and playback performance. It is universally compatible. H.264 ensures seamless compatibility with video editing software without requiring tedious transcoding. It has fast timeline rendering. It keeps file sizes manageable and scrubbing smoothly through the timeline during high frame rate edits, so post-production doesn't lag.
Is that a green screen I see? Doesn't those make it so he could be anywhere?
Yes, it does. Uriel's green screen setup will give him boundless possibilities. As you can see in the raw footage, performing in front of a green screen acts as a blank creative canvas. He will have a sharp keying edge. Combined with the uniform lighting from the ring light, the bright, solid green backdrop makes edge detection clean and effortless, isolating Uriel cleanly from the background.
Wow, so Uriel can make his own imaginary world and bring it into real life, making a false reality for his fans to see in his music videos.
Yes, exactly. This is where the magic happens. Power Director 2026 takes that raw green screen footage and transports Uriel directly into a captivating, surreal universe. It gives him precision chroma keying. Power Director's advanced multi-key chroma key engine instantly replaces the green background with complex cinematic 3D digital environments, like the futuristic, glowing cosmic stage shown at the bottom. It will give Uriel cinematic blending. With built-in color matching, particle effects, and lighting tools, Power Director blends Uriel naturally into the digital scene, elevating an indie production to a blockbuster music video budget look. The bottom line is, with this compact setup, a Pixel 10, a ring light stand, a green screen, and Cyberlink Power Director 2026, Uriel Morningstar gets total creative freedom to build otherworldly visual experiences from the comfort of a home studio.
Wow, I'm impressed. This will take his home videos up to the next level. That is a very nice looking piano. Does Uriel play the piano?
Actually, this is something else, entirely. This will take up most of Uriel's computer desk. If you've ever wondered how someone can create an entire symphonic metal orchestra from a home studio, the answer is a combination of a powerful digital audio workstation, often called a DAW, and a MIDI controller like the Nectar Impact LX88. Uriel Morningstar's music is incredibly ambitious. A single song can contain around 171 individual instruments and tracks, including lead and backing vocals, a full metal band with electric guitars, bass and drums, an entire symphony orchestra and a massive symphonic choir. Recording all of those musicians live would be incredibly expensive, so instead Uriel performs and programs every part using virtual instruments inside his DAW. This is where the Nectar Impact LX88 becomes an essential part of the process. Unlike a traditional keyboard that produces its own sounds, the LX88 is a MIDI controller. It doesn't create audio on its own. Instead, it sends performance data, such as which keys are pressed, how hard they're played, and when they are released, to the computer. The DAW then routes that information to virtual instruments, allowing Uriel to play anything from a grand piano or church organ to French horns, string sections, choirs, or even entire orchestral ensembles. The keyboard features 88 full-sized, velocity-sensitive keys, giving Uriel the range and expressive control needed to perform realistic piano pieces, sweeping orchestral passages, and intricate symphonic arrangements. Because the keys respond to how hard they're played, softer performances can create gentle string melodies, while stronger keystrokes can produce powerful brass fanfares or dramatic orchestral climaxes. The controller also includes faders, knobs, pads, and transport controls that integrate directly with many popular DAWs. Instead of constantly reaching for the mouse, Uriel can start and stop recording, adjust instrument volumes, control expression, automate dynamics, or trigger percussion and orchestral articulations directly from the keyboard. This makes composing faster and keeps the creative flow uninterrupted. One of the biggest advantages is that Uriel only has to record one instrument at a time. He might begin by recording a piano sketch, then add drums, bass, rhythm guitars, lead guitars, orchestral strings, woodwinds, brass, percussion, choirs, and finally vocals. Each new performance is recorded onto its own track within the DAW, gradually building a massive production layer by layer until all 171 instruments work together as a single composition. Without a MIDI controller like the Nectar Impact LX88, creating music on this scale would be far slower and much less intuitive. It transforms the computer into an entire virtual recording studio, giving one musician access to the sound of hundreds of performers. For composers like Uriel Morningstar, it's the bridge between imagination and a fully realized symphonic metal masterpiece.
He does all that, and earlier you said that he never took music lessons. So how does he do that amazing work? How can he write a masterpiece of 171 instruments without any training? That's one amazing talent.
With modern technology, even though Uriel cannot read sheet music, he just plays his songs by ear and the computer writes the notation out on the screen for him. Once he has the melody figured out, the other instruments are just layers and harmonics of those notes, so he prints out the melody sheet music to guide him in recording the rest of the instruments. I hope that makes sense.
I know I couldn't do that. That would hurt my head. That seriously is a talent. He must have very good ears. He must also be smart and a quick thinker, a jack of all trades as they say. What is all this? It looks very technical, even more than I understand. What is it?
Uriel Morningstar is leveling up, from his motherboard's built-in audio chip to the legendary solid-state Logic SSL12. For years, Uriel Morningstar has pushed the limits of what's possible in digital music production, building massive symphonic metal compositions featuring over 171 virtual instruments, soaring vocals, crushing rock guitars, thunderous drums, a full symphony orchestra, and an epic choir is no small feat. Every composition has demanded creativity, patience, and technical skill. Now a major transformation has arrived. Uriel Morningstar has upgraded from relying on his computer's built-in motherboard sound chip to the solid-state Logic SSL12 USB audio interface, a professional studio centerpiece inspired by one of the most respected names in recording history. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a complete evolution.
How good is it sound? It's just a little box that sits on his desk, is it not?
This little box, as you call it, will give Uriel the legendary SSL sound. For decades, solid-state Logic has defined the sound of countless hit records. Their legendary consoles have been trusted by world-famous producers, engineers, and artists across rock, metal, pop, orchestral, film scores, jazz, and virtually every other genre. The SSL12 captures that same heritage in a modern desktop interface. Its ultra-clean microphone preamps deliver exceptional clarity while preserving every nuance of a performance. The converters provide outstanding dynamic range, allowing quiet orchestral passages and explosive metal crescendos to coexist with incredible detail. Instead of the limitations and electronic noise associated with consumer motherboard audio, the SSL12 delivers professional-grade transparency, depth, stereo imaging, and headroom. Every note has more space. Every instrument has more definition. Every mix breathes.
It sounds like Uriel takes his music very seriously.
This is built for serious music production. The SSL12 offers everything a modern composer could ask for. 4 premium SSL microphone preamps, professional 32-bit/192 kHz recording quality, industry-leading converters with exceptional dynamic range, independent headphone outputs A and B for accurate monitoring, multiple balanced outputs for studio monitors, MIDI input and output, and add optical expansion for adding up to 8 additional microphone preamps in the future. low latency USB connectivity, rugged studio quality construction. Perhaps most importantly, the SSL-12 leaves room to grow. Whether Uriel someday records a live choir, a string quartet, a full drum kit, or multiple vocalists simultaneously, the interface can expand through ADAT without replacing the entire system. It's designed not only for today's productions, but tomorrow's ambitions.
So what, musicians and producers, have become famous, recording with the solid-state Logic 4000 series consoles in the 1980s and the 1990s.
The solid-state Logic SSL 4000 series, specifically the 4000E and 4000G models, is widely considered the most consequential mixing console family in music history. By the mid-1990s, Billboard magazine estimated that over 80% of #1 hit singles were mixed or tracked on an SSL desk. The console's aggressive integrated channel dynamics, black and brown EQs, and the legendary G-Master bus compressor, the glue, defined the punchy radio-ready sound of the 1980s, 1990s, and beyond.
So who were the producers and the engineers?
There are many legendary producers and mixing engineers. Rather than just using the desk, these individuals developed signature workflows and sonic footprints that made them, and the SSL 4000 famous. Chris Lord-Alge, famous for his hyper-aggressive, compressed and in-your-face rock mixes. He is famously married to his vintage SSL 4000E console, using it to mix generation-defining albums like Green Day's American Idiot and hits for My Chemical Romance and Madonna. Tom Lord-Alge, Chris's brother, who prefers the SSL 4000G to mix punchy pop-punk and alternative classics for Blink-182, Weezer, U2 and Oasis. He accidentally discovered it using the SSL 4000B's built-in listen mic compressor during sessions with Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins, a sound that defined 1980s pop-rock drums. Andy Wallace, master of the heavy, balanced alternative rock sound, he used the SSL 4000 to mix Nirvana's Nevermind, Jeff Buckley's Grace, and seminal albums for Rage Against the Machine and Linkin Park. Mutt Lange, the perfectionist producer who pushed the SSL 4000G's routing to its absolute limits, stacking hundreds of vocal and guitar layers for Def Leppard's Hysteria and Shania Twain's Come On Over. Dr. Dre, renowned for bringing the SSL 4000 series into the golden era of hip-hop, he relied heavily on the board's punchy low-end extension and mid-range clarity to shape the West Coast G-Funk sound on Snoop Dogg's Dogger Style and his own masterpiece in 2001. Alan Moulder and Flood, the architects of alternative and industrial rock, they relied on the board's aggressive biting preamps and EQs to handle the dense, chaotic soundscapes of Nine Inch Nails, the Downward Spiral and the Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Trevor Horn, the mastermind of lavish, highly technical 1980s British pop, he utilized the SSL at Psalm West Studios to shape hits for Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Relax, Seal, and Grace Jones. Mark Spike Stent transitioned the SSL 4000 sound beautifully from 90s alternative rock into modern pop, engineering and mixing definitive tracks for Madonna, Björk, U2, and Coldplay.
Those are some pretty big names. That's a lot of famous people.
There are numberless musicians and bands associated with this sound. These artists either recorded directly through owned or had their most famous work permanently shaped by the SSL 4000 architecture. Phil Collins, his career-defining solo track, In the Air Tonight, was built entirely around the SSL 4000 talkback compressor circuit. Peter Gabriel, an early adopter, who loved the workflow so much, he eventually became a part owner of solid-state Logic. His massive 1986 album, So, featuring Sledgehammer, is pure SSL. Madonna, her breakout 1980s albums like a Virgin and Like a Prayer heavily relied on the clean, snappy, transient response of the console to dominate dance pop radio. Prince outfitted his legendary Paisley Park studios with SSL 4000 series desks, using them to sculpt his signature tight funk pop rhythm sections. Nirvana, though Nevermind, was famously tracked on a custom Neve desk at Sound City. It was Andy Wallace's masterful radio-ready mix on an SSL 4000 that turned songs like Smells Like Teen Spirit into a global alternative phenomenon. Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor bought a historic SSL 4000B console and later expanded to G-Series modules for his Nothing Studios. Using its brutal, unforgiving VCA to overdrive industrial synthesizers and drums, Oasis, the brick-walled massive guitar walls of Definitely Maybe, and What's the Story Morning Glory were processed and driven through SSL 4000E and G strips to capture the height of Britpop. Metallica producer Bob Rock used the SSL 4000 to mix the 1991 self-titled Black Album.
Most of that was in the 1980s and the 1990s. What about now in 2026? What is the 4000 series doing now?
Well, let's go beyond the 1990s. While the industry saw a shift toward digital doors and newer SSL models like the 9000J and K, and duality, the 4000 series remains as the holy grail. Modern hitmakers like Manny Marroquin and Just Blaze carried the 4000 series lineage into the 2000s and 2010s to mix landmarks for Kanye West, Rihanna, and Beyoncé, ensuring the desk's punchy, aggressive footprint remains embedded in contemporary music, even today.
It sounds like Uriel and his wife Rhiannon really did their homework. So what else, if anything, is going on the desk? It's starting to look quite full.
On the lower pull-out shelf, between the two storage drawers, Uriel and his wife bought a custom-sized mouse pad that will fit the entire pull-out shelf. On this pad will be his on-brand RGB keyboard, then to the right of it, his on-brand RGB mouse. Uriel prefers working in a dimly lit room, so his focus is on what's in front of him, with no distractions. That's why his computer and attachments are RGB.
I just love the twinkling lights. They are so shiny. Nice headphones, they look comfortable. Who is Beyerdynamic? So I never heard of that company.
Upgrading the studio, a huge step forward for Uriel Morningstar's music. Every great recording studio is built one piece at a time, and today marks another major upgrade to Uriel Morningstar's home studio. The newest addition is a pair of Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro Limited Edition 250 ohm studio headphones. Now, to someone outside the music world, headphones are just headphones. For recording and mixing music professionally, that's about as true as saying a race car and a family sedan are both just cars. These headphones are designed for one purpose: accuracy. Most consumer headphones are intentionally designed to make music sound more exciting. They often boost the bass, brighten the treble, and smooth over imperfections. That's fantastic if you're relaxing and listening to your favorite songs, but it's exactly what you don't want when you're creating music. If your headphones exaggerate the bass, you'll naturally turn the bass down in your mix. Then when someone else listens on a normal system, the bass almost disappears. The same thing happens with vocals, guitars, drums, strings, choirs, and every other instrument. Professional studio headphones remove that guesswork. Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros are trusted in recording studios all over the world because they reveal what's actually there, not what the headphones think should be there. They let you hear tiny details that consumer headphones often hide. You can hear subtle background noises, tiny clicks, breaths between vocal phrases, timing issues, pitch problems, reverb tails, stereo placement, even instruments fighting each other for the same frequencies. Those details are what separate an average mix from a professional one. For Uriel Morningstar, this upgrade is even more important because he's not mixing simple songs. His productions are enormous. A typical project can contain around 171 individual instruments, combining powerful lead vocals, layered backing vocals, distorted electric guitars, bass guitar, live-style drums, a complete symphony orchestra, and a massive cinematic choir all playing together at the same time. That's an incredible amount of information competing for space inside a mix. The orchestra alone might contain dozens of separate instruments: violins, violas, cellos, double basses, flutes, oboes, clarinets, bassoons, French horns, trumpets, trombones, tubas, harps, percussion, then add a full metal band, then a choir with soprano, alto, tenor, and bass sections, then lead vocals. Every instrument has to occupy its own place without masking everything else. If even one section becomes too loud or too muddy, it can affect the clarity of the entire production. This is exactly where accurate monitoring becomes essential. The DT770 Pro's detailed sound helps reveal frequency conflicts that cheaper headphones often blur together. Instead of hearing one giant wall of sound, Uriel can hear individual layers with much greater precision. That means cleaner orchestral arrangements, better separation between guitars and strings, more natural choir placement, clearer vocals, more controlled low-end, and mixes that translate much more consistently onto car stereos, Bluetooth speakers, televisions, phones, gaming headsets, home theater systems, and other playback devices. Another important feature is that these are the 250 ohm version. High impedance headphones require more power to drive properly than typical consumer headphones. If you plugged them into a phone or a cheap laptop headphone jack, they would probably sound quiet and underpowered. That's where the second part of the upgrade comes in. Uriel Studio already includes the solid-state Logic SSL12 audio interface. The SSL12 has a powerful, high-quality headphone amplifier capable of driving 250 ohm studio headphones properly. That means the DT770 Pros receive the clean power they were designed for, delivering their full dynamic range, detailed stereo image, and excellent clarity. The SSL12 also features exceptionally clean microphone preamps and professional-grade digital converters, ensuring that what enters the computer and what comes back out to the headphones remains faithful to the original performance. Together, the SSL12 and the Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro create a monitoring chain that's designed for professional production work. It's a combination that lets creative decisions be based on accuracy instead of guesswork. Will these headphones magically make every mix perfect? Of course not. Experience, musical judgment, and careful listening will always matter the most. Uriel has been doing this since 1989 when he went to recording arts school. That is over 37 years of experience for him. But having accurate monitoring means better decisions can be made throughout every stage of production. When you're producing cinematic symphonic metal with hundreds of individual tracks, every improvement in monitoring can have a noticeable impact on the final result. This upgrade gives Uriel Morningstar a clearer window into his music than ever before. And when you can hear your music more accurately, you can mix it more accurately, which means the songs you hear in the future, from Uriel, should sound better than ever before.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like a headache for most people. That takes talent. I cannot wait until I can hear a song from him, now that he's going professional with his sound.
Another interesting thing about Uriel's new desk is that on the right side of it is a hook. This hook is for hanging his headphones right there next to his SSL12 for easy access.
So what is it that I am looking at now? What does this do?
Taking Uriel Morningstar's symphonic metal studio to the next level with Sound ID reference. When a musician is creating massive symphonic metal compositions with hundreds of layers, including crushing guitars, powerful drums, orchestral instruments, cinematic arrangements, vocals, and a full symphonic choir, one of the biggest challenges is not just creating the music. It is making sure the music sounds exactly the way it was intended. This is where Sound ID reference by Soundworks becomes a game-changing addition to Uriel Morningstar's home studio. Uriel already has a powerful monitoring setup. His Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro limited edition 250 ohm headphones provide detailed, professional-level listening with excellent clarity, allowing him to hear subtle details in his mixes. His Edifier MR5 studio monitors provide a dedicated speaker environment for judging the overall balance, stereo image, and impact of his music. But every room, every pair of headphones, and every pair of speakers has its own unique sound characteristics. Some frequencies may be louder than they should be. Some frequencies may disappear. Some parts of the mix may sound perfect in the studio, but completely different when played in a car, on earbuds, or on another sound system. This is where Sound ID reference comes in.
What is Sound ID reference? What exactly does it do?
Sound ID reference is a professional calibration system that uses a specialized measurement microphone and software to analyze the listening environment. The included calibration microphone measures how sound behaves in Uriel's studio space. It listens to the frequency response of his Edifier MR5 monitors, the acoustic characteristics of his room, the natural coloration of his Beyerdynamic headphones, the way sound reaches his ears from his equipment. The software then creates a correction profile that compensates for these inaccuracies. The goal, to give Uriel a much more accurate listening environment so what he hears while mixing is closer to the true recording. Original sound. The original sound setting represents how the headphones or speakers naturally sound without correction. This is the sound straight from the equipment. While this may sound enjoyable, it can contain imperfections. For example, a speaker may exaggerate bass frequencies. A room may create unwanted low-end buildup. Headphones may make certain frequencies appear brighter or darker than they really are. The danger is that Uriel could unknowingly compensate for those problems while mixing. He might reduce bass because his room makes bass sound louder than it actually is. Then when someone else listens to the song, the bass may feel weak. Or he may add extra high frequencies because his headphones are slightly darker than the original recording. The mix becomes dependent on the flaws of the listening environment. Flat Sound ID reference. The Flat Sound ID reference profile creates a neutral, balanced listening environment. Instead of hearing the personality of the speakers or headphones, Uriel hears a more accurate representation of the actual recording. This is incredibly important for symphonic metal. A song with metal guitars, double kick drums, bass guitar, lead vocals, backing vocals, orchestra, strings, brass, percussion, choirs, atmospheric effects can quickly become a wall of competing frequencies. Sound ID reference helps Uriel make better decisions. Are the guitars actually too loud? Is the orchestra masking the vocals? Does the choir have enough space? Is the bass powerful without overwhelming the mix? Are the strings and guitars fighting for the same frequencies? A flatter, more accurate monitoring system allows Uriel to make decisions based on the music, not the limitations of his room. Customization options. Sound ID reference also allows Uriel to customize his listening experience. Not every artist wants to mix in a completely neutral environment. Different options allow him to check his music from different perspectives. He can adjust target curves, frequency balance, listening preferences, headphone profiles, and speaker calibration settings. For example, during detailed mixing, A flat reference profile helps him make accurate decisions. During creative writing, he may prefer a slightly enhanced sound that feels more exciting. During final mastering, he can return to the neutral reference to make sure the mix translates properly. Translation check options. One of the most powerful features for a modern producer is translation checking. A professional mix does not just need to sound good inside Uriel's studio. It needs to sound good everywhere. Sound ID reference allows Uriel to simulate different listening environments. He can check how his music may translate through consumer headphones, earbuds, car speakers, small speakers, or other playback systems. This is especially important because symphonic metal is extremely complex. A song that sounds huge in the studio might lose the vocal clarity, the orchestral detail, the emotional impact, the low end power when played somewhere else. Translation checking helps ensure that the listener experiences the music the way Uriel intended.
Why does this matter for Uriel Morningstar's music?
Uriel is not producing simple 2 or 3 instrument recordings. He is creating cinematic symphonic metal compositions with enormous arrangements. Every instrument needs its own place. The guitars need aggression, the drums need power, the orchestra needs depth, the choir needs space. The vocals need emotion and clarity. When hundreds of tracks come together, accuracy becomes everything. Sound ID reference gives Uriel confidence that the decisions he makes in his home studio will translate to the outside world. Combined with his Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro Limited Edition 250 ohm headphones, Edifier MR5 studio monitors, SSL12 audio interface, professional DAW workflow, Sound ID reference becomes the final piece that turns a home recording setup into a more professional mixing environment. It is not just about making music louder. It is about making sure every note, every instrument, and every emotion reaches the listener exactly as Uriel imagined. For a symphonic metal artist creating massive musical worlds, accurate monitoring is not a luxury. It is the foundation of bringing those worlds to life.
Who would think that a 3 to 4 minute song would take so much work, so much effort? Then their fans wonder why they ask so much for an album. With this much work involved, I'd say musicians are underpaid. What else did they get for his home studio? Is there anything else?
As Uriel Morningstar's home recording studio continues to evolve into a professional creative workspace, it's not just the recording equipment that matters. Organization is equally important. One of the newest additions is a matching 3-drawer file cabinet positioned beside his studio desk, topped with a Canon PIXMA TR7520 printer. While it may not seem as exciting as a microphone or a pair of studio monitors, this is one of those upgrades that quietly makes the entire studio more efficient. For a musician producing massive symphonic metal compositions, organization is absolutely essential. Uriel's songs aren't simple 4-piece rock arrangements. Each composition combines lead vocals, backing vocals, electric guitars, bass, drums, a full symphony orchestra, and an enormous choir, often totaling around 171 individual instruments and tracks. Managing projects of this size means dealing with a tremendous amount of information beyond the computer screen. The Canon PIXMA TR7520 gives him the ability to print professional quality sheet music whenever it's needed. Whether it's piano scores, orchestral arrangements, choir parts, lyric sheets, rehearsal notes, studio checklists, mixing notes, equipment manuals, contracts, or important personal documents, everything can now be printed immediately without leaving the studio. This is especially useful when writing orchestral music. Instead of constantly switching between windows on a computer monitor, Uriel can spread printed scores across his desk, make handwritten notes, mark tempo changes, circle melodies, rewrite harmonies, or experiment with orchestration using a pencil. Many composers still prefer working with printed music because it allows them to see an entire page at once and think more naturally about the composition. Lowest drawer of the matching file cabinet becomes the perfect place to archive these documents. Completed scores can be organized by album, song title, or project. Important paperwork remains protected, easy to find, and safely stored instead of piling up around the studio. The remaining storage space serves another equally important purpose. Every recording studio accumulates cables, XLR microphone cables, instrument cables, USB cables, HDMI cables, power adapters, MIDI cables, headphone extension cables, video equipment accessories, memory cards, hard drives, camera batteries, small adapters. Without proper storage, these items quickly become tangled, misplaced, or damaged. Having dedicated drawers for accessories keeps the recording area clean, organized, and ready to work at a moment's notice. Instead of searching through boxes or shelves looking for the right cable, everything has its own place. This also helps protect expensive equipment by preventing unnecessary wear caused by tangled or improperly stored cables. Professional studios are built around workflow. Every minute spent searching for equipment is a minute not spent creating music. By keeping documents organized, sheet music archived, and accessories neatly stored, This simple cabinet helps transform the studio from a collection of gear into a productive creative environment. Combined with the SSL12 audio interface, the Bear Dynamic DT770 Pro Limited Edition 250 ohm headphones, the Edifier MR5 studio monitors, Sound ID reference calibration system, and the Nectar Impact LX88 MIDI controller, this latest edition completes another piece of Uriel Morningstar's growing professional home recording studio. Sometimes the biggest improvements aren't the ones that change how your music sounds. They're the ones that change how efficiently you can create it. And when you're producing cinematic symphonic metal on the scale of a full orchestra and choir, staying organized is every bit as important as having the right instruments.
It sounds like Uriel and his wife Rhiannon did a good job of making this home studio. It looks like they thought of everything, and with them being low-income people to pull this off with determination shows the audience just how bad Uriel wants his dream to come true. Many people around him were trying to convince him it was not possible with their low income, but here we are, they actually did it. What is that metal square thing on the left? What is that used for?
It is a workstation tower cart. Why Uriel Morningstar upgraded his home studio workstation's position. Every detail matters in a music studio, not just the instruments and software, but the workspace itself. That's why Uriel Morningstar moved his workstation computer tower off the desk and onto an adjustable locking tower cart. It may seem like a small change, but it delivers some surprisingly big benefits. With the tower no longer taking up valuable desk space, there's more room for what really matters: music production. MIDI controllers, audio interfaces, microphones, studio monitors, and creative tools all have more space to breathe, making the workstation cleaner and more organized. The adjustable tower cart is designed to fit the computer's footprint perfectly. By adjusting both the width and length, the tower sits securely and evenly supported, providing excellent stability while protecting the computer from unnecessary movement. Locking wheels offer the best of both worlds. During recording, mixing, or editing, the wheels lock firmly in place so the computer stays exactly where it belongs. When it's time to clean the studio, upgrade hardware, or connect new equipment, the locks release and the entire workstation tower rolls out effortlessly. No heavy lifting, no awkward reaching behind the desk. Another advantage is improved cleanliness. Keeping the tower raised off the floor helps reduce the amount of dust, lint, and debris that can be drawn into the computer's cooling system. A cleaner computer can maintain better airflow and may require less frequent internal cleaning, helping keep the workstation running efficiently through long recording and production sessions. Access to the rear ports is also dramatically improved. Whether connecting an audio interface, external storage drives, MIDI devices, monitors, or USB peripherals, everything is easier to reach without crawling under the desk or pulling the entire workstation apart. The cart's snug, adjustable fit also helps distribute the tower's weight evenly, while minimizing unwanted shifting whenever the computer needs to be moved. For a musician and producer like Uriel Morningstar, every improvement that makes the studio more efficient means more time creating and less time dealing with equipment. A simple tower cart transforms the workstation into a cleaner, more accessible and more professional setup, keeping the computer protected, making maintenance effortless, freeing up valuable desktop space, and helping the studio stay organized for every recording, mixing, and production session. Sometimes the smallest upgrades make the biggest difference. This is one of them.
What a nice computer. It's so pretty with all the flashing lights and all. Where could I buy one for myself, and what do they cost?
Not bought and built. You can't buy this workstation in a store. No manufacturer offers this exact system because it is the culmination of 3 years of planning, research, component selection, assembly, testing, and refinement by Uriel Morningstar. Every decision, from the processor and cooling system to the storage layout and RGB lighting, was made with a single purpose: to create the ultimate creative workstation for composing symphonic metal, producing professional 4K music videos, and promoting original music without compromise. Representing an investment of more than $7,000 Canadian in premium hardware, this is far more than a high-end PC. It is a purpose-built digital production studio, engineered to deliver exceptional performance, reliability, and creative freedom for years to come. Rather than purchasing a pre-built computer designed to satisfy the average user, Uriel chose to build a workstation tailored specifically to his artistic workflow. Every component was carefully selected to maximize processing power, storage speed, cooling efficiency, expandability, and long-term dependability. The result is a machine capable of handling enormous orchestral compositions, hundreds of virtual instrument tracks, professional recording and mastering sessions, and smooth 4K video editing, all while maintaining remarkably low operating temperatures. At the heart of the system is an AMD Ryzen 9 7950X3D, paired with 128 GB of Kingston Fury Beast RGB DDR5 memory, 4 dedicated GB AOIUS Gen 4 PCIe 4 NVMe SSDs, an Asus Prime X670E Pro Wi-Fi motherboard, and an Asus GeForce RTX 5070Ti graphics card. Together, these components provide the horsepower needed to compose cinematic symphonic metal in Steinberg Cubase Pro, edit and render stunning 4K music videos in Cyberlink Power Director 2026, and create professional promotional content from a single workstation. Keeping this powerhouse operating at peak efficiency is a meticulously engineered cooling system centered around a Deepcool LS7 2316 liquid cooler in a custom push-pull configuration. During real-world creative workloads, including large Cubase Pro orchestral projects and 4K rendering in Cyberlink Power Director 2026, the Ryzen 9 7950X3D consistently operates at approximately 40 degrees C, while the Asus Prime X670E Pro Wi-Fi motherboard maintains an exceptionally cool 33 degrees C. These outstanding temperatures allow the processor to sustain maximum boost performance without thermal throttling, ensuring smooth operation during marathon composing sessions and lengthy video renders. This workstation is more than a collection of premium hardware. It is the creative engine behind Uriel Morningstar's music. From composing sweeping orchestral arrangements and recording guitars and vocals to mixing, mastering, editing cinematic music videos, and promoting new releases, every stage of the creative process takes place on a workstation built by the artist for the artist. Every cable, every fan, every drive, and every component reflects an unwavering commitment to excellence. This isn't simply a custom-built computer. It is the physical embodiment of 3 years of dedication, craftsmanship, and creative vision, designed to empower Uriel Morningstar to bring powerful music and cinematic visuals to audiences around the world.
At those prices, I don't think I'll be buying or building one of those anytime soon. No shiny lights for me. That looks like a very comfy chair. Does Uriel have spine issues? That would be horrible to live with.
More than a chair, it's a necessity. For most people, an office chair is simply a place to sit while they work. For Uriel Morningstar, it's an essential piece of medical support that allows him to continue creating the music that gives his life purpose. Uriel lives with Marfan Syndrome, a rare genetic disorder that has no cure. Unlike many medical conditions that affect only one part of the body, Marfan Syndrome affects the body's connective tissue, the tissue that provides strength, support, and flexibility throughout the entire body. Connective tissue is everywhere. It supports the bones, joints, ligaments, tendons, muscles, blood vessels, heart, eyes, skin, and spine. From the top of the head to the bottom of the feet, every part of the body depends on healthy connective tissue. And that tissue is weakened, the effects can be widespread and lifelong. Marfan syndrome isn't something that can be fixed with surgery or medication. Doctors can treat individual complications, but there is currently no cure for the disorder itself. On top of Marfan syndrome, Uriel also lives with cervical spinal stenosis at the C7 vertebra, fibromyalgia, and arthritis. Together, these conditions mean he experiences severe, chronic pain every single day. There are no pain-free days, and no days where he can simply push through without consequences. Yet despite these challenges, he continues to compose massive symphonic metal productions that combine a metal band, full orchestra, choir, and vocals. His projects contain well over 170 individual instruments, requiring countless hours at his workstation. For someone living with constant pain, an ordinary office chair simply isn't enough. That's why Uriel and his wife, Rhiannon, made the decision to invest in a high-quality ergonomic chair. This wasn't a luxury purchase. It was a practical investment in his health and his ability to continue making music. The chair's high back provides support for the entire spine, helping reduce fatigue during long composing sessions. Its ergonomic design encourages better posture, reducing unnecessary stress on the neck and back, especially important for someone living with spinal stenosis in the cervical spine. The adjustable neck pillow helps support the natural curve of the neck, reducing strain while working at multiple computer monitors. The lumbar cushion helps support the lower back, easing pressure on muscles and joints that are already under constant stress. Its thick, high-density cushioning helps distribute body weight more evenly, reducing painful pressure points that can be especially difficult for someone living with fibromyalgia. Adjustable armrests support the shoulders, elbows, and wrists while using a keyboard, mouse, MIDI controller, and studio equipment, reducing muscle fatigue and joint pain during long recording and mixing sessions. The reclining feature also allows Uriel to change positions throughout the day. For someone with chronic pain, remaining in one position for hours can significantly increase stiffness and discomfort. Being able to lean back periodically helps relieve pressure on the spine and muscles before returning to work. Will this chair cure Marfan syndrome? No. Will it eliminate spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, or arthritis? No. But it can make the long hours required to produce professional music more manageable. Every bit of proper support reduces unnecessary strain on a body that is already fighting constant pain. For Uriel, music is much more than a hobby. It is his escape from pain. It is his anger management. It is where frustration becomes creativity and suffering becomes something beautiful. When chronic pain is a constant part of life, composing symphonic metal gives him a way to transform those emotions into powerful orchestral arrangements, crushing guitar riffs, soaring choirs, and deeply personal songs. Every upgrade in his home recording studio has a purpose. Some improve the sound of his recordings, others improve his workflow, but this chair serves an even greater purpose. It helps support a body affected by a lifelong genetic disorder, so the musician inside that body can keep creating the music that keeps him going. Sometimes, the most important piece of equipment in a recording studio isn't the microphone, the audio interface, or the speakers. Sometimes, it's the chair that makes it possible to sit down and create in the first place.
It's horrible that Uriel has to suffer like that, but at the same time his music says that he understands what others go through, because he himself has lived it. Songs about suffering and hope. The world could sure use music like this today. How does Uriel record all those instruments at home, on his computer? Wouldn't he need real people and real instruments in a massive recording studio?
That is why Uriel Morningstar chose Cubase Pro 15. One of the biggest upgrades to Uriel Morningstar's home recording studio isn't a microphone, an instrument, or even a pair of speakers. It's the software that brings everything together, Cubase Pro 15. For many musicians, recording a song means working with a few tracks, a guitar, bass, drums, vocals, and perhaps a keyboard. But Uriel doesn't create ordinary music. His compositions are enormous cinematic symphonic metal productions featuring more than 171 individual instruments and tracks. Every song combines crushing electric guitars, thunderous drums, orchestral strings, brass woodwinds, percussion, pianos, choirs, solo vocalists, sound design, and countless musical layers that all have to blend together into one cohesive masterpiece. Managing a project of this size requires software designed specifically for professional music production. That's exactly what Cubase Pro 15 delivers. Cubase gives Uriel the ability to organize hundreds of tracks into folders, color code every orchestral section, automate every detail of the mix, manage massive virtual instrument libraries, edit MIDI performances with incredible precision, and keep every instrument perfectly synchronized. Instead of spending time fighting the software, he spends more time creating music. For a composer producing projects this large, organization is everything. Every minute spent searching for a track or correcting workflow problems is time taken away from creativity. Cubase's professional workflow removes those obstacles, allowing ideas to move from imagination to reality much faster. One of Cubase's greatest strengths is its advanced MIDI editing. Since much of a modern orchestra exists as virtual instruments, every note, articulation, expression, velocity, modulation, and timing can be adjusted with incredible precision. This allows virtual orchestras to sound far more expressive and realistic. As songs become larger and more complex, Cubase also keeps everything organized. Instead of endlessly scrolling through hundreds of tracks, projects can be neatly divided into folders for strings, brass, woodwinds, percussion, choirs, rock instruments, vocals, keyboards, and effects. Cubase Pro 15 also includes powerful tools for recording vocals, editing audio, creating harmonies, correcting timing, mixing, automation, mastering, and even immersive audio production. These are the same kinds of professional features relied upon by composers, producers, and commercial recording studios around the world. When paired with the rest of Uriel Morningstar's studio, Cubase becomes the command center that ties every piece of equipment together. His solid-state Logic SSL12 audio interface captures clean, detailed recordings with professional-grade microphone preamps and high-quality audio conversion. His Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro Limited Edition 250-ohm headphones allow him to hear tiny details while recording and mixing with exceptional clarity. His Edifier MR5 studio monitors let him evaluate mixes through accurate reference speakers, while Sound ID reference calibration helps ensure that what he hears on both his headphones and monitors is as accurate and consistent as possible. His Nectar Impact LX88 MIDI controller gives him expressive control over pianos, strings, brass, choirs, percussion, and countless virtual instruments, allowing him to perform them naturally inside Cubase. Each piece of equipment performs an important role, but Cubase Pro 15 is the heart of the entire studio. Every recording, every virtual instrument, every orchestral section, every vocal performance, and every final mix comes together inside this single professional production environment. Together, this setup transforms Uriel's home studio into a workspace capable of producing incredibly ambitious symphonic metal productions that approach professional commercial studio standards. What you're seeing on the screen. Now let's take a closer look at what you're seeing on the monitor, because every window inside Cubase serves a different purpose in creating a professional symphonic metal production. Project window, the entire song. The first screen shows Cubase's project window where the entire song is assembled. Every horizontal line represents a different instrument or audio track. For Uriel, that could mean over 171 separate tracks, including violins, violas, cellos, basses, trumpets, trombones, French horns, flutes, clarinets, percussion, choirs, guitars, bass guitar, drums, keyboards, vocals, and cinematic effects. This is the command center of the project. Every track can be color-coded, organized into folders, muted, soloed, automated, edited, or rearranged with ease. Despite the enormous size of these projects, Cubase keeps everything organized and easy to navigate. Key editor, piano roll. Below the arrangement is the key editor, often called the piano roll. Every colored rectangle represents an individual MIDI note. This is where Uriel shapes every orchestral performance by adjusting note timing, note length, velocity, dynamics, modulation, expression, articulations, and countless other performance details. Since virtual orchestras rely heavily on MIDI, this editor is one of the most powerful creative tools inside Cubase, allowing instruments to sound increasingly lifelike and expressive. Recording live instruments. Another screen shows a person recording guitar directly into Cubase. Whether he's recording rhythm guitars, lead solos, or experimenting with new melodies, Cubase captures everything through the SSL-12 with professional quality audio. Behind the performance, the project window continues organizing every recording alongside the virtual orchestra and choir. This ability to combine live musicians with orchestral instruments is one of the defining characteristics of modern symphonic metal. Professional plugins. You'll also notice another window opened on top of the project. This is a professional plugin. Think of plugins as digital versions of the expensive hardware found inside world-class recording studios. Cubase supports tools such as equalizers, EQ, compressors, reverbs, delays, saturation, distortion, stereo imaging, noise reduction, mastering processors, and hundreds of virtual instruments. Instead of filling an entire room with costly studio hardware, Cubase places all of these tools inside the computer, available instantly whenever they're needed. Mix console, the digital mixing desk. Another screen displays Cubase's mix console. This is the digital equivalent of a professional recording studio mixing console. Every instrument has its own channel strip where Uriel controls volume, stereo position, equalization, compression, effects, routing, automation, sends, and inserts. Imagine balancing 40 string instruments, 20 brass instruments, 20 woodwinds, multiple choirs, full drum kit, bass guitar, rhythm guitars, lead guitars, keyboards, vocals, and sound effects. That's well over 171 individual channels, all requiring precise balance so that every instrument can be heard without overpowering another. Cubase's mix console makes this possible while keeping everything organized and efficient. Score editor. One of Cubase Pro 15's most impressive features is its built-in score editor. Unlike many recording programs that only display MIDI notes as blocks, Cubase can automatically convert MIDI performances into traditional sheet music. For a composer like Uriel, this is an enormous advantage. Music written using the Nectar Impact LX88 can instantly become professionally formatted notation for strings, brass, choir, piano, or virtually any orchestral instrument. If real musicians ever perform his compositions, Cubase can generate printable sheet music directly from the project, eliminating hours of manual transcription. It's like having a professional music copyist built directly into the software. Groove Agent SE Virtual Drummer. The final screen displays Groove Agent SE, Cubase's powerful virtual drum instrument. Instead of recording an acoustic drum kit every time, Groove Agent allows Uriel to create realistic drum performances entirely inside the computer. Every kick drum, snare, tom, cymbal, fill, groove, and double bass pattern can be performed from his MIDI keyboard or programmed directly into Cubase. Everything from the drum sounds to microphone placement, room ambience, and playing dynamics can be customized, producing drum tracks that sound remarkably realistic. The complete professional studio. When you put all of these windows together, it becomes clear why Cubase Pro 15 is trusted by professional composers, producers, and film scorers around the world. It isn't simply recording software. It's a complete music production environment capable of handling every stage of creating professional music. For Uriel Morningstar, whose symphonic metal compositions combine a rock band with a full orchestra and choir across more than 171 instruments, Cubase Pro 15 provides everything needed in one place. Composition, MIDI programming, live recording, audio editing, virtual instruments, drum programming, professional effects processing, mixing, mastering, automation, printable orchestral scores, combined with his solid-state Logic SSL-12, Bear Dynamic DT770 Pro Limited Edition 250-ohm headphones, Edifier MR5 studio monitors, Sound ID reference calibration, and Nectar Impact LX88 MIDI controller, Cubase Pro 15 becomes the foundation of an exceptionally capable home recording studio. For a composer creating music on this scale, Cubase Pro 15 isn't simply another piece of software. It's the creative engine that transforms hundreds of individual recordings and virtual instruments into a single, polished symphonic metal masterpiece.
Wow, I didn't know you could do all that, especially at home, in your own room. That's incredible. I'm really excited now to see what Uriel does with all this. Wow, that's a lot of images, too much to see all at once. What is all this that I'm seeing on the screen?
This isn't just software, this is an entire recording studio. When people think about buying an audio interface, they usually think about microphone inputs and headphone outputs. But the SSL-12 gives Uriel something much bigger. It gives him access to dozens of professional studio processors that engineers normally spend many thousands of dollars collecting. Every plugin performs a specific job. Together, they completely transform Cubase into a world-class recording studio. Autobus. Think of Autobus as an AI mixing assistant. Instead of spending hours balancing 171 instruments, Autobus analyzes the mix and intelligently suggests bus processing to make everything work together. For a giant orchestra with guitars, choir, drums and vocals, this can save countless hours. Auto EQ, finding space for violins, cellos, brass, choir, electric guitars, bass, drums, vocals is one of the hardest parts of symphonic metal. Auto EQ analyzes each instrument and helps carve out frequency space so nothing fights with everything else. Instead of muddy mixes, everything becomes clearer. Autodyne, compression is difficult. Autodyne listens to the signal and helps dial in compression settings automatically, instead of guessing. Gives Uriel an excellent starting point. Channel Strip 2 and 32 Classic Channel Strip. These are complete recording consoles inside a plugin. They include EQ, compressor, gate, filters, and dynamics. Instead of loading 5 different plugins, one plugin handles everything. Imagine placing one of these on all 171 tracks. Every instrument suddenly has the sound of a professional SSL mixing console. Bus Compressor 2, one of SSL's most legendary processors. This is famous for giving mixes glue. Instead of sounding like 171 separate instruments, everything begins sounding like one giant orchestra. This is one of the reasons so many hit records have that polished, finished sound. G3 Multi-Bus Compressor, perfect for mastering. It compresses different frequency ranges independently. This allows huge orchestras, pounding drums, and distorted guitars to stay powerful without destroying the rest of the mix. XEQ2, a surgical equalizer, perfect for removing harsh frequencies. For example, if 20 violin tracks all build up around the same frequency, XEQ can clean it up with incredible precision. Xdyne EQ, dynamic EQ, instead of permanently cutting frequencies, it only reacts when needed. Fantastic for vocals, choirs, brass and guitars. Xcomp, high-end compressor, great for vocals, strings, choir and piano, keeping performances smooth while preserving expression. Xvalve Comp adds analog warmth. Digital recordings can sometimes sound sterile. Valve Comp adds the character of expensive tube hardware. Strings become richer, choirs become warmer, vocals become fuller. Fusion Collection. These plugins recreate SSL's famous Fusion mastering processor. They include Vintage Drive, Stereo Image, Violet EQ, HF Compressor and Transformer. Together they add warmth, width, depth, sparkle and punch. This is often the final polish before releasing music. FlexVerb, a professional reverb, essential for symphonic metal. Instead of every instrument sounding dry, FlexVerb creates the illusion that the orchestra is performing inside a concert hall, cathedral, scoring stage, or a huge cinematic space. PlateVerb, classic plate reverb, fantastic for vocals, snare drums, and orchestral solos. It adds lush and musical ambience. Xecho, professional delay, useful for guitar solos, vocal effects, and cinematic ambience. Drumstrip, designed specifically for drums. It includes transient shaping, EQ, dynamics, and saturation, perfect for making metal drums hit harder. Vocal Strip 2 and Vocal Flow. These are complete vocal processors. They help with EQ, compression, de-essing, tone shaping, vocal enhancement. Someone recording lead vocals over 170-piece arrangement. This makes the vocals stand out clearly without sounding harsh. Guitar Strip, purpose, built for electric guitars. Helps distorted rhythm guitars sit perfectly beside the orchestra. De-esser controls harsh S sounds, especially useful on lead vocals, choir recordings, spoken narration. Gate Verb, a classic gated reverb effect, perfect for epic snare drums, cinematic percussion, and 1980s-inspired effects. Denoiser removes unwanted background noise from recordings, keeps vocals and acoustic instruments clean. Xgate eliminates microphone bleed and unwanted noise, especially useful when recording guitars or vocals. Tape Saturator adds the warmth of analog tape machines. Digital recordings become smoother, richer, and more musical. Mastering EQ. Final Polish allows tiny adjustments across the whole song before release. Mastering Compressor keeps the finished mix consistent, adds punch while maintaining dynamics. Spectral Gate, an intelligent noise reduction processor, excellent for cleaning recordings without damaging the original sound. Legacy EQ recreates classic Harrison console EQs, wonderful for giving orchestral recordings a musical analog character. Dynamite, a recreation of the famous Valley People compressor expander, excellent for aggressive drum processing and controlling dynamic instruments. Look-ahead compressor predicts incoming peaks before they happen, ideal for transparent mastering compression. Multiband compressor compresses bass, mids and highs separately, essential for controlling huge symphonic mixes. Microglide, a vocal tuning and pitch processing tool that can create subtle corrections or creative pitch transitions. Harrison 32 bus, based on Harrison's legendary large format consoles, excellent for mixing orchestral stems into cohesive sections.
So what does this all mean? For Uriel, how does it help him?
For Uriel Morningstar, whose music combines lead vocals, choir, electric guitars, bass, lifestyle drums, full symphony orchestra, over 171 individual instruments, these plugins represent far more than convenience. They provide the same style of processing found in many of the world's top recording studios. Instead of purchasing dozens of separate software packages over many years, the SSL ecosystem gives him a comprehensive set of professional tools for recording, editing, mixing, and mastering in one integrated workflow. Solid-state logic, combined with his SSL 12, Cubase Pro 15, Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro Limited Edition 250 Omega headphones, Edifier MR5 studio monitors, Sound ID reference, and Nectar Impact LX88, his home studio is no longer simply a bedroom recording setup. It becomes a professional production environment capable of handling the immense complexity of cinematic symphonic metal, allowing him to create mixes with greater clarity, depth, realism, and efficiency than ever before.
Wow! Composer Cloud, what is that? Is Uriel dreaming? Is his head in the clouds again?
Yes, his mind is literally in the cloud, and this time it's a good thing. East-West Composer Cloud Plus X, unlimited possibilities for Uriel Morningstar. If there was ever a single edition that could transform a home recording studio into something that rivals the creative power of professional film composers, this is it. For Uriel Morningstar, who creates massive symphonic metal with over 171 individual instruments, combining a full orchestra, symphonic choir, metal band, soloist, cinematic percussion, ethnic instruments, and countless layers, East-West Composer Cloud Plus X isn't just another virtual instrument. It's an entire musical universe. As East-West themselves say, it's not an instrument, it's all of them. And that's exactly what Composer Cloud delivers. Over 10,000 professional instruments at his fingertips. Instead of purchasing one orchestra, one choir, one piano, one guitar library, one drum library, one ethnic instrument collection, Composer Cloud opens the door to more than 10,000 professionally sampled virtual instruments, all recorded in world-class studios by award-winning engineers and musicians. Someone writing symphonic metal, that means instant access to multiple Hollywood orchestras, symphonic strings, brass sections, woodwinds, percussion, choirs, opera singers, solo vocalists, rock and metal guitars, drum libraries, grand pianos, synthesizers, ethnic instruments from around the world, cinematic sound design, real-world reverbs, and countless specialty instruments. No matter what musical idea enters Uriel's imagination, there's already an instrument waiting for it. Hollywood orchestra, this is the sound heard in countless blockbuster films and television scores. Rather than relying on generic MIDI sounds, Uriel can compose with beautifully sampled first violins, second violins, violas, cellos, double basses, trumpets, French horns, trombones, tubas, flutes, oboes, clarinets, bassoons, harps, and massive orchestral percussion. Every instrument includes multiple articulations and performance styles such as legato, staccato, marcato, pizzicato, spiccato, sustains, dynamics, and multiple microphone positions. The result is an orchestra that breathes, moves, and sounds remarkably lifelike. Combined with Cubase Pro 15, his SSL 12 interface, Sound ID reference, Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro headphones, Edifier MR5 studio monitors, and professionally treated acoustic space, Uriel now has the tools to create productions approaching professional cinematic quality. The legendary Bösendorfer 290 Imperial Grand Piano. Among the thousands of instruments included in Composer Cloud, one stands above all the others for Uriel Morningstar. The legendary Bösendorfer 290 Imperial Grand Piano. This isn't just another sampled piano, it's his favorite piano. Unlike nearly every traditional concert grand, which has 88 keys, the Bösendorfer Imperial features an incredible 97-key keyboard, extending the instrument with 9 additional bass notes below the standard piano range. For most pianists, those extra keys are a luxury. For Uriel, they're an inspiration, because he composes music on an enormous scale with over 171 instruments, blending orchestras, choirs, cinematic percussion, and heavy metal. Those additional bass notes provide a deeper, darker, more powerful foundation that simply isn't available on a standard piano. Instead of constantly transposing octaves or working around the keyboard's limitations, the Bösendorfer allows him to perform and compose naturally across an expanded range. Those extra notes become thunderous cinematic bass tones, haunting orchestral textures and dramatic harmonic foundations that perfectly complement symphonic metal. The Bösendorfer Imperial is also renowned for its unmistakable sound, warm, rich, powerful, elegant. Its enormous dynamic range allows delicate emotional passages to sit comfortably beside crushing orchestral climaxes. It's one of the reasons this piano has become a favorite among concert pianists, film composers, and recording professionals throughout the world. For Uriel Morningstar, the Bösendorfer 290 Imperial isn't simply another virtual instrument. It's the piano that inspires him to create, choirs that sound human. Symphonic metal is built upon massive choirs. Composer Cloud includes legendary vocal libraries such as Hollywood choirs, symphonic choirs, voices of opera, and Hollywood backup singers. These aren't limited to simple R and U sounds. Hollywood choirs includes Word Builder, allowing Uriel to type actual words and have the choir sing them. Imagine composing your own symphonic metal masterpiece, then hearing an entire virtual choir perform your own lyrics with incredible realism. That's the kind of creative freedom Composer Cloud offers. Ministry of Rock. Symphonic metal isn't only about orchestras. It needs power. Composer Cloud includes Ministry of Rock, featuring professionally recorded drums, basses, electric guitars, and rock instrumentation that blends naturally with cinematic orchestras. This allows Uriel to build productions where crushing metal riffs and massive orchestral arrangements sound like they truly belong together. Voices from around the world. Need an opera soloist. Need haunting cinematic vocals. Need ancient ethnic instruments. Need Mongolian throat singing. Need world percussion. Composer Cloud includes them. Libraries like Voices of Opera and Voices of the Empire introduce entirely new colors that would normally require hiring specialized performers from around the globe. Spaces 2. One of Composer Cloud's hidden treasures is Spaces 2. This isn't simply another reverb plugin. It's a collection of real acoustic environments captured from famous concert halls, churches, cathedrals, recording studios, theaters, and other unique locations throughout the world. Instead of artificial ambience, Uriel can place his orchestra into real spaces that sound authentic and cinematic, giving every production greater depth, realism, and emotion. Endless inspiration. Perhaps the greatest strength of Composer Cloud isn't one library. It's having all of them together. One day Uriel might write a medieval fantasy score. The next, a gothic piano ballad, then an epic orchestral overture, then a crushing symphonic metal anthem, then a Celtic-inspired soundtrack, then a cinematic battle theme with choirs, orchestra, pipe organ, and distorted guitars. His creativity never has to stop because he doesn't own the right instrument. It's already there, ready to inspire the next idea, completing the dream studio. When you look at everything Uriel Morningstar has been building, every upgrade strengthens the next. His ergonomic chair allows him to continue composing despite living with Marfan Syndrome, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, and arthritis. His SSL-12 delivers pristine studio-quality recording and industry-leading audio conversion. Cubase Pro 15 gives him the professional production environment needed to manage projects containing well over 171 instruments. Sound ID reference ensures his headphones and studio monitors reproduce sound with exceptional accuracy. His acoustic treatment creates a more controlled listening environment. His organized workspace keeps every piece of equipment exactly where it needs to be. Now, East-West Composer Cloud Plus X becomes the creative heart of the entire studio. Instead of owning a handful of virtual instruments, Uriel now has access to an entire orchestra, every choir, every piano, every cinematic texture, every powerful rock instrument, every ethnic instrument, every inspiring voice, every orchestral section, every idea, waiting for him the moment inspiration strikes. For someone creating symphonic metal on the scale of a Hollywood film score, Composer Cloud Plus X isn't just another software subscription. It is the sound of unlimited imagination. With more than 10,000 professional quality instruments, world-class orchestras, legendary choirs, award-winning pianos like the Bösendorfer 290 Imperial, and enough sonic possibilities to spend a lifetime exploring, Uriel Morningstar's home studio is no longer just a place where music is recorded. It's a place where entire worlds are composed. Because when your imagination has no limits, your instruments shouldn't either.
Wow, modern technology is insane, but in a good way. No matter what Uriel needs for a song, it's there. Finally, he can compose his music, with absolutely nothing stopping his creativity. I am expecting great things to come from him in his future.
Things are coming soon, so please stay tuned for updates from Uriel Morningstar and his one-man symphonic metal band, Syntharaja. He is the Prince of Synth after all. It is truly amazing that he can play by ear and master synthesizers and make such beautiful music. See you all soon.
See you all soon.